With the best will in the world, it's all too easy to find yourselves in an assessment cycle that does not lead teachers to improve their teaching, nor pupils to improve their learning. And only recently has there been more focus on effective professional training in the principles of assessment, its design and analysis. Often potentially valuable data and insights generated go untouched, either because there was no shared plan for interpretation and use, or because of the lack of expertise needed to take the next steps. It's critical to take a step back and ask yourselves why exactly you're assessing. What do you need to know? What are you going to do with the information? How will that translate into meaningful next steps, and how frequently or infrequently will this cycle work to best effect? Knowledge of relevant theory and rigorous practice offers a strong foundation for effective use of assessment to improve outcomes. Teachers and leaders' time spent on assessment should achieve something that demonstrably helps improve students' learning. If it doesn't, why bother? Furthermore, students' time is also precious and can be wasted on assessments that don't have the capacity to give us the information we require. Standardised assessments offer one tool to help improve learning, but like any tool, teachers and leaders need to understand their uses as well as their limitations before implementing them. When deciding on the ways in which assessment is used in a school, there are 4 key pillars that are helpful to consider: purpose, validity, reliability, and value. Carefully considering the purpose of our assessments is a crucial first step to ensuring that any tests or tasks we use are actually fit for purpose. In the same way you wouldn't use a knife to put a nail into a wall, you wouldn't just use a spelling test if you wanted to track a student's progress in English. Knowing what information we require and what we want it to support will help you make informed decisions when it comes to selecting the right assessment for the job in hand. We often use standardised assessments at key transition points, for example, for the purpose of identifying end goals for students and beginning to plan how they'll get there. We must next consider the validity of the assessment results that are generated. Validity can be thought of as a test of the fitness for purpose of an assessment task and the information it produces. Standardised assessments may be valid for helping you to benchmark your students in relation to others, for example, but they wouldn't be the right tool to highlight specific gaps in students' knowledge of enzyme theory or French grammar. Reliability concerns the accuracy and replicability of the data generated. If we want to measure someone's weight, for instance, we could ask them to stand on a set of scales 3 times in a day, and each time there would be a slightly different measurement on the scale. Which of these is the person's true weight depends on several factors, not least of which is the accuracy of the measurement tool we're using. When developing a school assessment framework, you tend to encounter a similar issue, only this time you're trying to measure learning, something invisible and abstract. Helpfully, standardised assessments often use questions that have been designed to make certain specific aspects of learning more visible, and have been trialled with thousands of students to ensure they can do this with a high degree of reliability. The final pillar when thinking about our assessments is value. Every activity we carry out comes with an opportunity cost attached. That is, doing one thing comes at the cost of not doing something else. When we think about the time it takes to plan and use any assessment, including standardised assessments, for students to take it, for relevant administration and feedback tasks to take place, the opportunity and time costs for one assessment can often be quite substantial. If the value of the information obtained is not proportionate with these and other costs incurred, we should question whether there is a more effective alternative use of our time and resources. Taking the time to think through the purpose of an assessment and to plan what will happen after it's been taken and who will use the information generated will help to make the process more valuable and reduce opportunity costs. When planning an assessment framework, we need to ask what it is that we want students to learn and what we want to learn about our students or our school. It's also imperative to make sure we identify who will be using the information generated and determine if they have the appropriate knowledge and skills to be able to generate actionable insights from our assessments. If they don't, how can you expect them to use the tools of assessment effectively and efficiently? The quality of an assessment process is, in large part, dependent on the informed use and interpretation of the information generated by people who know what the data can and can't tell them. Standardised assessments are no different. They can be highly effective, but only with informed, appropriate interpretation and use by people who have the required knowledge and experience.